Hello, students. Welcome in the economics class started by G.S. Pandey, PGT Economics. Today, we will discuss about the functions of money. Let us consider what are the functions of money. Yesterday, we have discussed the various aspects of barter system, limitations and problems of barter system. And today we will discuss the functions of money. What are the functions of money? Money performs four specific functions, each of which overcomes one of the difficulties of barter. And basically, at first we have to divide the functions of money in two parts, that is primary function and secondary function. In primary function, there are two functions performed by the money, that is unit of value, and second one is a medium of exchange. And in secondary function, first one is a standard of deferred payment, and second one is a store of value. These are the four functions of money. Let us consider one by one. Before considering it, we have to consider the four problems and difficulties of barter system, which are solved by the four functions of money correspondingly. The problem of barter system, lack of unit of value, can be solved by the unit of value. Lack of double coincidence of wants can be solved with the functions of money, the medium of exchange. And the third problem of barter system, lack of a standard of deferred payments, will be solved by the functions of money, a standard of deferred payments. And fourth one, problem of barter system, that is lack of a store of value, can be solved with the functions of money, fourth functions of money, the store of value. Let us consider the first, money as a unit of value or measure of value function. Money is a unit of value, or it has a unit of value. It is a unit of account in terms of which the value of all goods and services is measured and expressed. We can see it in another way. The functions of money, the standard of units of quoting prices of goods and services. The value of each good or service is expressed as its price. So, in this way, the price of goods and services are expressed in terms of money. After knowing the prices of goods and services, it is not difficult to determine exchange ratio between the various people or the various stakeholders. This is the first function of money. Let us consider the second function of money. The second function of money is the medium of exchange. This is the most basic function of money, as today all exchanges take place in terms of money. Money serves as a medium of exchange payments. Money helps in buying and selling of goods and services as it is commonly accepted measure of value. In this way, money performing its tasks the medium of exchange. We can easily exchange any commodity or services with the commonly accepted money easily. There is no problem to exchange any goods or services with the help of money. That is why it is the second function of money, that is medium of exchange. Let us consider secondary function of money, in which the third function of money is a standard of deferred payments. Deferred payments refer to payments made in future. Money as a standard of deferred payments has facilitated market transactions by buying, selling, borrowing, etc. Money makes possible the credit transactions to happen when payments are not to be made immediately. Thus leads to creation of financial institutions, which is very basic infrastructure for modern business. As long as money maintains a constant value through time, it overcomes the problems associated with making future payments, because money is generally accepted measure of value. Money is durable and homogeneous. In this way, these problems of barter system can be solved with the third function of money. This is the third function of money, that is a standard of deferred payments. Let us consider the fourth function of money, that is a store of value. A store of value, the fourth function, last function of money, through which the problem of barter system can be solved easily. That is, let us consider the store of value. What is the store of value? How it is helpful in solving the barter system's problem. Under barter system, storing of value in terms of goods was very difficult. Now, with money, savings are done in terms of money. Money occupies less space for storage in comparison with goods. For example, we can face so many problems to store a quintals of food grain, but in the form of money, we can store it very easily in a box, in a almirah, the value of in cash, in money. Money is an asset and can be stored in future. Money helps people to transfer their purchasing power from present use to future use. A person may choose to store value in any form depending on consideration of income, safety, and liquidity. The more advantageous of the form of money is that it is in liquid form, very easy to handle. We can use it at any moment for purchasing and selling and exchanging anything in the market. Money is a way to store wealth because it is commonly accepted measure of value. Second, it is issued in various denominations which can be used conveniently to pay for goods. Thirdly, its value remains constant compared to goods. The value of money cannot deteriorate, cannot exceed in comparison to the goods. And third one is it is value remains constant compared to goods. And fourth one is it is easy to store money. It is very simple to store money, whether we can storing it in house or in banks, whatsoever it may be. It is very easy to store. In this way, we have completed the chapter 5 of macroeconomics, CBSE board class 12, chapter 5 money. Next day we will consider the new chapter, that is the banking. Something we can also see about this chapter, that is classification of money. Money can be classified in two ways to form: value of money for monetary purposes, value of money for non-monetary purposes. And the another thing is we have to know what is full-bodied money and what is representative full-bodied money. Full-bodied money, it is the money value whose for monetary purposes is equal to its value for non-monetary purposes. That is, in another words, face value of this money is equal to its intrinsic or metallic value. For example, gold coin or silver coins when economy was on metallic standard. And second one is standard full-bodied money. It is generally made of paper money. It is the money whose value for monetary purposes is greater than its value for the non-monetary purposes. Face value of its money is greater than its intrinsic or metallic value. It is backed by 100% gold or silver reserves. It is called representative money. It replaced full-bodied money because it was felt that it was inconvenient to use large sum of full-bodied money in transactions. Third one is credit money. It is the money whose value for monetary purposes is greater than its value for non-monetary purposes. To make the monetary value higher than its commodity value, the government limits the quantity of money. There are various forms of credit money. Number one, token coins. Number two, circulating promissory notes issued by central bank. And number three, deposits at bank. This is credit money because its value for monetary purposes is greater than its value for non-monetary purposes. Let us consider, why do people hold cash balances? Cash balances refer to the amount of money public intends to maintain for certain motives. The quantity amount depends on determinants affecting these motives. For transaction motive, number two, for precautionary motive, number three, for speculative motive. For these purposes, people hold cash balances. So, in this way we have completed the whole aspects of money. In the next class, we will consider the next chapter, chapter 6, banking. Rest is well. Thank you.